Breaking news, FBI agents have filed a lawsuit over the U.S. Justice Department's efforts to identify agents who are participated in investigations related to January 6th.
The FBI is fighting back against the Trump administration after a class action lawsuit was just filed to stop dictator Don and his cronies from firing all of the FBI agents who worked on Jan 6 investigations. Ever since announcing this intention to go after the FBI agents, the far right have been in a frenzy on the internet, posting all kinds of personal information about FBI agents, including their names and addresses, putting them at risk of being hunted down by Jan 6 maniacs who have already said that they want to harm FBI agents and have been pardoned by Donald Trump. Luckily, the agents themselves are fighting back.
Now, a reminder, FBI employees across the country were directed yesterday to turn in a questionnaire to supervisors about their possible work on January 6th cases. Supervisors collected the questionnaires, and today is the deadline to hand that information over to the Justice Department.
Chris, these agents are challenging not just the survey, but the effort to compile and disseminate a list of all of the FBI personnel who worked on January 6 cases. They say that there's no legitimate reason to do this the way that the Trump administration is trying to do it right now. And they allege that the very act of compiling a list of persons who worked on matters that upset Donald Trump is retaliatory in nature, intended to intimidate FBI agents and other personnel and to discourage them from reporting any future malfeasance by Donald Trump or his agents. And while there are only 9 plaintiffs, Chris, I can tell you that many more FBI agents than that support this effort and may sign on to the class here. But it's going to be a difficult thing. I mean, obviously, a government agency has a right to compile lists of employees. The question here is the intent and the dissemination. And what they're saying is, look, there are already January 6 felons, pardoned by Donald Trump, dangerous people who are out there spreading the names and identities of FBI agents on the dark web, on social media. There's a real security concern here. That's one of the arguments they're going to make. But this is part of an ongoing drama here at the FBI and the Justice Department, Chris, with concerns about mass purges. And they believe that this survey was the first step in firing a lot of people who worked on the January 6 cases.
Here's a case of at least one of the Jan 6ers who plotted to unalive some FBI agents. He was convicted and is trying to get his case overturned, citing Donald Trump's pardon. Here's a quote from some of the agents who filed the suit. The agents who brought the federal suit anonymously say they're fearful that Justice Department leadership intends to publicly identify them and make them targets of threats and harassment. One suit, brought by the FBI's Agents Association, points to calls by Proud Boys leader Enrique Tarrio to punish an FBI agent involved in his sedition conspiracy prosecution related to the Jan 6 attack. This spell cannot be unrung, and once the plaintiff's personal information is released, it will be eternally available on social media, attorneys for the unnamed agents argue in the suit. And they're absolutely correct. The far right, which is basically just the right now, anywhere from Kash Patel all the way to 4chan, want to punish FBI agents for going after Jan 6ers. As the members of the U.S. Senate Committee on the Judiciary rightly point out that radical extremist Kash Patel, our new leader of the FBI, would weaponize the FBI to target enemies of Trump, not enemies of America. And those agents who were assigned to these cases and worked them diligently as law enforcement officers are going to be punished for doing their job. Not only are they going to be in danger, but the lives of their families are going to be in danger, all because of MAGA conspiracist weirdos who watch too much Fox News and OAN. Because seeing as Trump's picks are probably going to get shoved through the Senate whether they like it or not, it's important to point out that picking Kash Patel to be the head of the FBI might just make him the tip of Trump's spear. Here's Senator Blumenthal pointing that out too.
It indicates a diminution and undercutting of law enforcement, which is the mass purges that are taking place among the ranks of our FBI. There's no denying that FBI agents have been fired, have been suspended, and otherwise disciplined for assignments that they took on orders in connection with certain criminal investigations. Those massive purges are directly contrary to the assurances we were given by Kash Patel. He said to us, when I asked him directly, pointedly, all FBI employees will be protected against political retribution. This retribution undermines enforcement by the FBI of drug cases and terrorism and other criminal cases. I asked, Mr. Chairman, that we call back Kash Patel to explain how he could deny that there would be political retribution when the next day, in fact, these massive purges began.
The agents are trying to fight back while also complying. The list of employees, nearly 5,000, has been compiled and handed over to the Justice Department as the agents are suing. And at the same time, a letter has been sent from the acting director of the FBI to the DOJ, warning them that if they go through with these terminations or reveal the employees' information, there will be harassment, doxing, or maybe something worse.
There's a concern that this will have a chilling effect on the FBI and its agents for the near future, if not for the long-term future of the FBI. That they're being questioned and scrutinized for their roles in the January 6th investigation is sending a message that they have to be careful what investigation they take next. That they may have to be careful not to take a case that may displease President Trump. So no matter if there are mass firings, mass resignations or not, a bell has already been rung that they can't unring. Now, what will happen next? Will there be large-scale employment actions, the showing of the door to many of the FBI agents? We're going to find that out in the hours and days to come. We do know from our CBS News reporting there are potentially thousands of FBI employees and agents impacted by this review. This January 6th investigation was no small thing, and it was not isolated to Washington, D.C. This was a national investigation involving nearly every U.S. state, all FBI field offices, and that yielded 1,500 plus defendants. So a lot of agents have their fingerprints on these cases. I think the more pressing concern right now is what challenges can be mustered and galvanized to stop or slow down any type of removal. There's a lawsuit just filed by 9 anonymous FBI employees trying to challenge the gathering of these names and any actions by the Department of Justice. They say, among other things, this is a violation of their rights, of their privacy, and what's more, they argue this list of employees who handled January 6 cases is potentially a piece of nitroglycerin. If it falls into the wrong hands, it's a national security concern, and these employees could be subjected to threats.
And to be clear, Scott, do FBI agents have a choice as to what case they're given to investigate? And I mean, are these employees essentially being investigated for doing their jobs?
That's what the advocates and the legal representatives of these FBI employees are saying, that FBI agents were doing their job.
So once again, the party of law and order has quickly shown itself to be the party of criminals and thieves. While at the same time that Elon Musk is robbing our coffers at the US Treasury, Trump is distracting the cops by doing a shakedown. Folks, this is a growing story, so expect more videos out of us soon. I'm Tony Hinderman with Really American, and I'll catch you next time.